The Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Seaboard Networks.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. Yes, I know you're excited. I'm excited. So if I'm excited, I know you're excited, right? Amy's excited. We're all happy you're here. Oh, by the way, my name is Jeremy. I'm the host of this exciting show. Amy here is my co-host, co-explorer.
I'm very excited.
We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And you know, why are we so happy? Maybe it's the crazy water. And yes, I will explain. Long before wellness retreats promised detoxes and longevity, Americans traveled for mineral water, mountain air, strict diets, mechanical exercise, and physical rehabilitation. That's right. Your local, Pilates studio and wellness center, that's nothing new, really. Some were treating everyday pain. Others were trying to survive diseases medicine could not yet cure. What remains of those destinations, and are they still worth visiting here in the year 2026 and beyond? A lot of these places still have operating wellness centers.
Yeah. I think we think of wellness tourism as a newer fad. But it's actually been around for hundreds of years, people traveling for their health or to partake in a miracle water, something along those lines. So when you started digging into this, I was like, I don't know that there's a whole lot there. But the more we learned about it, it's actually pretty fascinating.
Yeah, especially here in the U.S. and about the 1800s or so, varying timelines. You know, people, it seems like we were inventing new diseases and new ailments almost every day. And sometimes looking back at the science now, it was very obvious, like, don't eat the lead.
That's true.
Like, don't do that, you know.
That's true, yeah.
Asbestos and things like that. It's kind of common sense. But back then, you know, there were all kinds of wacky ailments, but even wackier treatments and medicines and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, cocaine's a heck of a drug, right? Anyway, so have you ever heard of the expression?
Can we say that?
Have you ever heard of the expression taking the waters?
No.
Okay, because you're not 80 years old. There used to be an expression called taking the waters. And where did it come from? It came from people trying to fix something in particular, right? Rheumatism. Rheumatism basically covered numerous forms of chronic joint and muscle pains, right? And this could be, and also it kind of went hand in hand with something called dyspepsia. Okay, is that right? Yeah. Okay. Well, that could mean persistent indigestion issues, nausea, bloating, heartburn. So visitors would arrive with arthritis, gout, constipation, skin diseases, all kinds of stuff. Or even just general fatigue and general effects of aging. You're getting old.
Right.
You got a case of the old.
Well, this is back when people didn't tend to live very long either.
Right.
So when somebody did and they were just aging like a body naturally does, they're like, oh, something's wrong with you.
Oh, my gosh. You look terrible. You're like, yeah, I'm 70, you know. People are like, well, geez.
We've never seen a 70-year-old
Have
before.
you tried not being 70? Well, we all try it. So doctors had limited diagnostic tools, right? It's kind of crazy how anyone could just be a doctor, right? And few effective treatments for chronic conditions were available to people. So a mineral spring, which they kind of popped up everywhere, I think in a lot of different areas around the country, have mineral springs of some sort. Mineral springs offered something tangible. You could drink the water, soak for a little bit, follow a strict diet, return tomorrow, repeat all the way. So even when it couldn't cure the underlying disease, warm water could temporarily like ease pain, loosen stiff joints, and provide relaxation. Something that we think is common now was kind of revolutionary back then because they didn't really have a lot of access to warm, hot waters all the time.
Right, right. And I think I would love to dig more into the history of it, because we hear this now and we're like, well, yeah, of course. But who was the first person who like went and sat in a hot spring and then came out and like, I feel much better? Like, how did that conversation go? And then how did that spread? Oh, this guy sat in some hot water and now he feels better, so you need to go sit in some hot water.
It helped, at least alleviate his old. He didn't feel as old. Well, one of the most famous places is a place that we didn't grow up too far from. And everyone in Texas knew about it. And it's Mineral Wells, Texas.
Yep.
Mineral Wells, Texas marketed its water to people suffering from arthritis, skin conditions, and other kind of chronic complaints like we were talking about. Its most famous product is still being sold today. Okay. It's called Crazy Water. See, look at that full circle moment. Brought it back to the beginning of the show, right? Crazy Water supposedly received its name after residents claimed the water improved a woman's mental condition. And even if you go to their website, if you go to drinkcrazywater.com and look at their crazy history, they have it basically summed up. Legend has it that back in 1881, there was an old crazy woman. Note the old part. The old crazy woman who would spend her days sitting next to the well, drinking the mineral water. People quickly noticed that this old lady's crazies, quote unquote, began to look more like everyone else's normsies. Meaning she wasn't as crazy as she used to be, right? This is their website. This is not me saying anything.
Their website actually says normsies.
Normsies, right here. So thousands of people flocked to this magical well in Mineral Wells and christened it the Crazy Well. Now, why wouldn't they call it the normal well?
The not crazy well.
The not crazy well. Anyway, anything. Among them was a doctor who recently delivered the news that there was no remedy, or who recently got the news that there was no remedy for his life-threatening stomach disease that he had. So the doctor, who was facing no hope, began drinking the magical water from the Crazy Well, and before long, believe it or not, his stomach ailment was no more. And in 1904, of course, he was like, if I got it for free, someone else has to pay for it, and started the famous mineral water company that is still in operation today. Wow. And it even has a water feature outside. It says, home of crazy water.
Do you think it was actually the minerals in the water, or just people consuming more water? I mean, did they drink a lot of water back in that time?
Clean water was probably...
I guess that's more the question, like clean water.
Yeah, that was probably something too. Even though it was like, it wasn't so far back that like they didn't have dirty water everywhere. I'm sure a lot of people still didn't have access to
filtered
everyday
like
clean
that.
Water. Yeah, absolutely. So by 1920, Mineral Wells had hundreds of wells and was attracting enormous numbers of health seekers from around the world. People traveled from around the world to come to Mineral Wells, Texas. If you went there today, you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
But
we've driven through.
So what remains in 2026? The restored Crazy Water Hotel reopened in 2021. This is the place that people would hang out. So people didn't just drop in for a day and be healed. They came for weeks and months at a time, and they needed somewhere to stay. A lot of times they stayed at the Crazy Water Hotel. It reopened in 2021. The famous mineral water company still sells different strengths of mineral water to this day. They have different strengths.
I don't know what that means. I'm curious.
Like
now.
You want a little bit crazy to be gone, or you want like mother-in-law crazy to be gone, like that kind of stuff. So there you go. So, and also there's all kinds of placements in mineral wells where you can have some fun and have the old and the crazy absorbed right or osmosis right out of your body.
I guess.
Okay. Anyway, another place, a couple more. I mean, like a famous one is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Another one in Saratoga Springs, New York. Right. So in Hot Springs, Arkansas, they developed an entire medical tourism district rather than a single resort from their hot springs. Wealthy visitors used elaborate private bathhouses. Government facilities provided treatment for people that were unable to pay. They even had an Army-Navy hospital that added an element of official medical legitimacy to this area for their their hot springs and water springs there.
And the thing I find most interesting about hot springs is that it is now actually a national park.
Yeah.
Which is so odd to me, but I'm on the NPS.gov website right now, and it says it's the only national park that protects a unique combination of lithology, geological structures, and water sources.
Absolutely.
Like, that's so interesting. And so we were looking at this at the site, and it actually has some of the remaining bathhouses there that you can still go to, and I think one is still functioning.
Yeah.
I really like that our National Park Service is really trying to preserve some of these things from our oddities, I would say, from our nation's history.
I love it too. I mean, because you go to a lot of places, and obviously at some point you got to move on and kind of tear down the old and bring in the new. But I like that there's at least one area that is like this, because they have, and you just kind of alluded to, they have what they call Bathhouse Row. So Bathhouse Row today consists of 8 different bathhouses that were constructed between 1892 and 1923, kind of at the height of all of this, we got to go get healthy and all this other stuff. This is the largest collection of early 20th century bathhouses remaining today. Like you said, of all 8, there is one, the Buckstaff Bathhouse, that was built in 1912. It's the only one on the road to operate continuously and actually serve up the baths and different water features that you could experience in 1912. You can experience them today.
Right. I know I've been to hot springs, but I don't believe I went to this portion of it, so I didn't see the bathhouses. And you were there too many years ago. Were you able to go to this area of the national park and see the bathhouse row?
I didn't get to.
I think we need to make a point to do that.
I think this is going to go high up on the list, man.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a little, my shoulder's been clicking a little bit.
Get some of that special hot water on your shoulders.
Yeah, the old it doesn't hit all at once.
Do you think this is where the phrase fountain of youth came from? Like people sitting in the hot water, the mineral water, and it started making them feel better? It relieved aches and pains?
Well, this is where I think people started to believe anyway. I mean, you have the government out there building medical houses, and there's all this stuff. It looks on paper or on front hey, this is a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
So we have plenty more of this. We're going to talk about all kinds of healing centers from around the U.S. that are still active today. Stay with us. Unskilled Travel Show. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my very not old co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
She's so young. You got to check her ID every time.
Yeah.
Every time anything happens anywhere. We're in Sin City in the Diamondback Lancer Studio. I just had to veer. I had to go a different direction.
Well, you got yourself in trouble there.
I sometimes forget this is the PG show. That's not Unskilled After Dark. Anyway, we're talking about wellness centers that came from a long time ago that are still available here in the U.S. Things like Mineral Wells, Texas, Saratoga Springs, New York, where people would go different places hoping that the magical waters or the properties of the climate would help alleviate their aches and pains, since everything was laced with cocaine back then. The federales.
You keep saying this.
The federales were cool about a lot of things back then. I'm just saying. So anyway, let's shift focus to when.
Oh gosh, you're gonna get us canceled.
When the climate was the actual medicine, and what was going on in a very serious disease that's still around today, unfortunately, but it's not as prevalent. But it had its time, right? And that is tuberculosis. So tuberculosis causes persistent coughing, chest pains, fevers, night sweat. extreme weight loss, and sometimes as you lose lung function and things like that, the victims end up coughing up blood. It was contagious, super contagious, and it frequently struck young adults and carried enormous social stigmas. No one wanted to be around what they called lungers.
Oh.
If we said that back in the day, whoa, they would kick us off air so fast.
Well, for me, I think a lot of people our age group in the U.S. specifically, when you think of tuberculosis, you think of the movie Tombstone and Wyatt Earp's wife at the time. Wife, girlfriend, whatever she was. Yeah, because she's coughing throughout most of it. And then, in the end, isn't that what Doc Holliday has?
Do you think do you think his wife had tuberculosis?
Is that not what she had?
She was addicted to laudanum.
Okay. I thought it was tuberculosis.
She had opioid.
Well, I mean, addiction. I knew that, but I thought it was because of the tuberculosis.
A lot of people had tuberculosis. She might have had it. I'm not saying she didn't.
She coughed.
Doc Holliday is the most famous one that people our age would probably know because he, in fact, did have tuberculosis. So he was advised, and he grew up and was born and raised in Georgia, right? Became a dentist, was in love with his first cousin, all kinds of weird stuff. But he went after he developed
getting weird.
tuberculosis. His doctor advised him, you know what, why don't you just leave Georgia? Like, you're doing a lot of weird stuff, dude. And like, you're getting good with a gun, and like people are kind of staring at me sideways. So he went from Georgia to Texas to Arizona, ultimately ended up in Colorado, but he moved west in order to alleviate the symptoms because with the drier climate and things like that. They ultimately believe that, you know, the mineral waters and vapor caves of places like Glenwood Springs, Colorado, would help cure this horrible disease. Unfortunately, he did die in Glenwood Springs in 1887, a few years after the gunfight at the OK Corral. He was a very young, 36 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was much older than that.
He actually held on a lot longer than most tuberculosis patients at that time. Travelers today can now hike to his memorial in Linwood Cemetery, visit the official Doc Holliday collection, and see the site of the old Hotel Glenwood, which the original hotel unfortunately burned down in 1945. But you can still visit Glenwood Springs today, and they have a lot of stuff either tied to Doc Holliday or the different colonies they used to have, the climate colonies that would take care of tuberculosis patients, which you kind of got to look at it if you did watch the movie Tombstone. You know, it was a sanatorium basically.
Right. Yeah. This just makes me think of when people are like, oh, I feel great. It's that clean mountain air kind of stuff. Like, but maybe there's something to it.
There was something to it if it wasn't just all in our heads, right? So climate treatment usually didn't kill the bacteria of tuberculosis, but better nutrition, rest, and isolation could help a lot of people control the infection. And the isolation reduced the transmission. So back then, people were like, okay, you know, we're starting to see improvements because of X, Y, and Z. They just kind of weren't putting it together because I don't think bacteria and stuff like that was even discovered yet. It wasn't until like the 20s, right?
Good question.
All right.
I thought Wyatt Earp's wife had tuberculosis. What do I know?
It was basically complete medicine with genuinely useful practices. So, you made me laugh, dude. So, another good place outside of like Glenwood would actually be like Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs got a great reputation because they promoted the sunshine, the altitude, the clean mountain air, like you said. The sanatoriums appeared throughout the region, and an estimated 1/3 of early Colorado visitors came seeking treatment for tuberculosis. So a lot of those patients were saying, hey, get to the mountains, clean air, sunshine, it's going to make you better, make you feel better. And some of them actually did recover and remain permanently like in the area and help kind of shape it. So I think if it was one of those things, like if it was caught very early or like, you know, some people just have a higher immune system and just a stronger immune system.
Well, I mean, we have still heard of people fairly recently who have lung issues being told to move to drier, warmer climates like Arizona and, where we are in Las Vegas, because it does help kind of maybe minimize some of the symptoms.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think this is something that's still going on at a much smaller scale than it used to, but just the understanding how certain climates do maybe exacerbate symptoms and moving away from those. It doesn't necessarily get rid of the disease. It just maybe helps you cope with it a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right there. Today in 2026, the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum has an exhibit called City of Sunshine, which includes an original tuberculosis hut, treatment equipment, and patient stories, all kind of in this exhibit. There are several hospitals and institutional buildings involved from former sanatoriums there. So these historic buildings are still around. And it says here, the former Cragmore Sanatorium became part of the University of Colorado at its Colorado Springs campus.
That's interesting.
And you mentioned Tucson and Oracle, Arizona as a couple of places as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arizona, parts of Arizona like Sedona is currently well known for having, a good wellness tourism environment. People go there for spa treatments and just kind of wellness retreats, things like that. And then Sedona is also supposed to kind of have this healing energy about it, something to do with.
We'll get to Sedona
with that. So, I mean, I think a lot of it does maybe have to do with the dryness in the air and, as you said, distance from other locations, and maybe just taking people out of that environment where they did get sick. Sometimes it's just a mental thing too.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? I mean, that's more of it's a mental thing. It's, I mean, not like a placebo basically, but like kind of in that realm. Like if you think positive thoughts, you get positive outputs, right? Like, hey, I'm getting better. I'm feeling stronger. Like, sure. No. When you got better nutrition, when you got cleaner water, when you got all of these things all together.
Because I think that's where the whole apple a day thing really, it's a mind shift for people. Like I need to start consuming better foods and things like that.
What's the opposite of it?
A Snickers a day?
A Snickers.
I don't know.
A Snickers? That's the opposite?
Chili cheese dogs? What? I don't know.
How dare you? How dare you besmirch?
What do you think it is that if somebody eats it every single day?
I can't say. We're still trying to get sponsors on the show. So say goodbye to Snickers. That'll haunt us.
And chili cheese dogs.
So yes, you are right. People move to Arizona a lot for that dry desert air, abundant sunshine. Some patients did enter formal facilities. Others lived in tent colonies and inexpensive cottages because they couldn't afford. I mean, again, these are lengthy stays. You're going out. You're not just going out
like
there for
3 days.
Yeah, it's not a weekend road trip. Like you're going out there to kind of live for a while. Oracle, Arizona became known for health resort hotels that served these lungers, the period's blunt name for people with tuberculosis and other, illnesses. So today in Oracle and around the area, Arcadia Ranch Museum has an exhibit devoted to Oracle's health seekers and tuberculosis treatments. And the former ranch property and photographs show how an ordinary boarding operation became part of the cure industry. So kind of interesting. Also, I wanted to mention Saranac Lake in New York. So Saranac Lake, we talk about the dry air and things like that. This kind of complicates the idea that tuberculosis patients always need that dry Western air, because Saranac Lake, I mean, its winters are brutally cold. But the doctor in charge there, Dr. Edward Livingston Trudeau, believed that with controlled rest, nutrition, there's those things in together again, isolation, once again, and the constant exposure to fresh air mattered more than warmth. So patients rested on outdoor porches even in wintertime.
Is it like cold therapy?
We're going to cold it out.
Yeah.
We're going to freeze that disease right at your body.
People do cold plunges and things like that, and they're supposed to be good for your body. So
absolutely.
Maybe there's something to that.
These quote unquote cure cottages spread through town, turning houses and neighborhoods into kind of like decentralized health resorts. So the entire local economy grew around patients staying for months or years. I mean, what an industry, right? You cure your tuberculosis, you get the flu. Your body is weak from the flu, you get tuberculosis again. That's an industry.
Repeat customers.
You need repeat customers.
Well, if you had tuberculosis, would you pick the desert or the cold lake in the mountains to get better?
There's your options right there. Do you want to freeze it out in the winter
or sweat it out?
Or do you want to burn it? If you've ever been to Phoenix in the summertime, you know what I'm
remember
talking
when
about.
you had a fever as a kid? Your mom's always like, you got to sweat it out.
Yeah, they throw a blanket over your head, a pot of water, steaming water at your feet. Sweat that demon out. Keep it right here on Scale Travel Show. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. A very healthy, very spry Jeremy Long here with my equally beautiful and energetic co-host, Amy.
Hello.
We're talking about the wellness facilities that were built back in the 1800s, early 1900s that you can still visit today. Some of them still operational. Go in there, get some crazy water from mineral wells. Go check out at least the museum exhibits about tuberculosis in Colorado Springs and places like that. And in this next section, I want us to focus on rebuilding the body and soul. And we'll start in a wonderful place called Battle Creek, Michigan.
I love the name.
Battle Creek?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great name for a town. And I believe the professional wrestler Rob Van Dam is from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Okay.
Not that anyone cares, but here we go. So what was going on, right? By the late 1800s, Americans, especially Americans, were increasingly concerned that the industry life was ruining their bodies because, you were going to work at 6 years old in an industrial plant.
In a factory.
Losing fingers and things like that. So, they were concerned about what was happening in this industrial life. Patients complained of constant constipation, indigestion, obesity. We were getting food. Sounds pretty normal, right? Sounds like today. Insomnia, fatigue, anxiety, all those, and what they used to just call nervous exhaustion.
Sounds like today.
You're going to have a breakdown. Okay. These weren't necessarily all fatal diseases per se, but they were the accumulated effects of aging. There's that old again, stress, poor diet, inactivity, and chronic discomfort. So the same broad market served by modern wellness resorts today, I would say. Mm-hmm. In Battle Creek, Michigan, there was a Battle Creek Sanitarium with one Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. You might know that name. John Harvey Kellogg turned the Battle Creek Sanatorium into a combination hospital, luxury hotel, fitness center, nutritional lab, and health retreat. So he had a personal philosophy. His philosophy of biologic living emphasized vegetarian food, regular exercise, fresh air and sunlight, adequate sleep, abstinence from alcohol and tobacco, hydrotherapy, water, preventative care rather than waiting for disease.
Interesting. So basically this was a place to learn to go live a healthier life.
Yeah. If you think about how city life was in the late 1800s in the U.S., right? We're in the middle of the industrial era, but it doesn't mean that food and everything else caught up. We are processing way more sugars. way more, a lot of the things that still kind of infect our food now and make America a crazy place to live in when it comes to food. But like just eating healthier. And I mean, that's kind of a common thing at all these wellness places. Get your nutrition in line, get some rest, exercise more. They were just kind of starting to understand what exercise was. Because back in the day, you didn't just go out into the forest and start running. No. Every day was survival.
Most people weren't running for like health benefits. They were running because they had to.
There was a bear after them. That was survival.
Right. Or if you lived in a city, maybe somebody was after you. But like people weren't just like, ooh, I'm going to get up and run 5 miles today because I feel like it.
Yeah. I'm going to just go. You chop down a tree because you needed to build a home. Right. Not because like, well, I'm just going to get in some exercise today. Like, no. So like people were just starting to understand about that. Eating well, actually resting. Yeah. Going back to sleep, that kind of stuff. I mean, and
like we said, rest. It sounds like a lot of the same issues people still deal with today. I think despite advancements and also logically, we all know we should eat better. We should sleep more. We should exercise. Like these things.
That's common today.
It's hard to do that. Yeah. You can know it, but to actually execute it is the hard part. Sometimes you do need to like go somewhere to retrain your body. Yeah. So I can see that.
You go out in the woods, have some wolves chase you. That's some good exercise. That's getting you back in the primal. Anyway, Dr. Kellogg created or promoted some elaborate treatments. He had the latest in vibrating chairs, which was just a hit with the ladies. Mechanical horses, light baths, like a bath of light, electrical devices, massage equipment, also a hit, and machines intended to shake and stretch and stimulate different parts of your body. Dr. Kellogg's place was a hit.
But a lot of these things are still being used today. I mean, I used to go see a chiropractor who had those different tables in his office that when you laid on it, it would like roll the thing under your back, or it would stretch, like push one of your legs up to help you get a deeper stretch, things like that. So I think maybe this was the kind of precursor to a lot of modern things that we see now.
So his sanitarium attracted wealthy and famous patients, but the program demanded absolute submission. Staff controlled when patients ate, when they exercised, how much rest they got, and how they underwent like treatment. So it was less a vacation than a medically supervised lifestyle reset.
It was rehab.
Yeah. Here's the cereal connection, right? So Kellogg cereal connection, which is kind of funny if you bring it all back. Dr. John Harvey Kellogg and his brother Will, they experimented with bland grain foods, partly because the sanitarium needed easily digestible vegetarian meals. Their work eventually produced flaked cereal. So Will Kellogg recognized the mass market business opportunity leading to the cereal industry that made Battle Creek famous.
Wow. I had no idea.
Didn't know that Kellogg actually started as trying to get people healthy. Yeah. And now you put a pound of sugar on Frosted Flakes and stuff.
But I mean, knowing that cereal came about because they were looking for easily digestible vegetarian meals specifically, like it never really occurred to me that it came from there.
But kind of crazy.
Most cereal now, especially in the U.S., as you said, it's just packed full of sugar. It's not even close to being healthy.
And just like the Dr. Crazy Water, you treat a bunch of people, you see the results, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, we can market this to
we can make some money.
Yeah, we could sell this. Make a fortune. So what remains today in 2026? The original sanitarium complex later became the Percy Jones Army Hospital and is now the Hart Dole Federal Center. Inouye? Hart Dole Inouye Federal Center. It's not operated as a normal tourist attraction, though, so you got to understand that. But there is a Dr. John Harvey Kellogg Discovery Center at the historic Adventist village that displays treatment equipment and explains his health philosophy. So visitors can see machines such as the vibrating chairs and foot massagers. And Battle Creek Cereal History supplies the broader travel experience around all of that. So basically take away from this, Battle Creek created the template for the destination wellness retreat. Arrive unhealthy, surrender your normal routine, and then leave with a box of cereal.
But I know you're giggling at this, but this is the first time that we've talked about places where the water like relaxes yours, supposedly has healing properties, or places where the climate can help ease your symptoms. But this is the first time we're talking about people actually doing things that are good for their body, including getting massages or things along those lines that are now very, very commonplace, but at the time that wasn't commonplace. So to go somewhere and get your feet rubbed, I know people are probably like, oh, that's kind of gross. But I mean, I go get pedicures and it always does make me feel better. And there's this whole thing about reflexology and all the nerve endings in your feet. So I think this is kind of, taking wellness to a place where you are actually treating the body in a way that is like, okay, I'm going to start treating my body better in hopes that I don't start breaking down.
I kind of like that. Your body is a temple kind of thing. I mean, I know that phrase didn't start from there, but like people started paying attention to their bodies, especially as more people, I guess, accumulated wealth and were able to get out of like the factory type areas and kind of look inward and go like, I don't want to have a hurt back all the time, or like my knees aren't, don't need to be messed up 100% of the time or anything like that. So it does kind of make sense when you look at it going, okay, I think this was the turn of the modern era where people started taking it a little bit serious.
Yeah. And things,
even though it was silly.
Things like how a massage can have health benefits. And having your feet rubbed can have health benefits. And eating better. I
wonder too. You talk about sayings like when people say, "Hey, well, there's something in the water there."
Oh,
I wonder if
maybe.
Someone tell me, am I wrong? There's something in the water, somewhere around there. Anyway, so let's turn inward to our souls and our spirits, because there's a place not too far from where we live called Sedona, Arizona, where if Battle Creek tried to rebuild the body through discipline, Sedona tries to restore something less tangible: energy, emotional balance, direction, spiritual connection. A lot of people have said for years that there are vortexes.
I think vortex is the plural.
Vortexes. Anyway, around there in the parallel lines, and something to do with geodes and crystals and everything, that somehow in Sedona you can realign your chi, realign your whatever people say about it, your chakras, whatever those are. Sedona's wellness visitors generally aren't seeking treatment for tuberculosis or polio. They arrive with that hard to define complaint. You have chronic stress, you're exhausted, or maybe you have some sort of trauma you're trying to get over, anxiety, dissatisfaction in general. Yeah. Those people are just always like,
Sedona currently is a very big wellness culture or retreat area, as we mentioned earlier. Part of me wonders, just thinking of all these different places, if it's kind of just the change of scenery and also the getting in touch with nature. Because you and I have traveled a lot in Arizona and Utah in these beautiful red rock areas. And there is something very calming about it. And we've also been in the mountains and in the forest, and we've been by beautiful lakes, and it is almost just like a reset for you. So I think sometimes it's just the change of scenery is a huge part of it.
Can do a body good.
Yeah.
All those beautiful red rocks out there, hiking, sunshine again. It seems kind of basic now, but years ago it was mind bending to think about. So keep it right here on Skill Travel Show. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com, for all of our past episodes, interviews, all that good stuff. all that health and wellness right there in one place on Scale Travel Show. It's kind of funny where, we're talking about all these treatments and everything, and how some of them go back to the 1800s and before. I mean, long before, and how now I guess a lot of people, especially younger generations, before they've lived a while, they think this is something new. Ooh, light therapy is something brand new. And it's like, well, they may call it something different now, but like it's been around for a bit. Like your grandpappy thought it was phooey way back then. Okay. So like I mentioned taking the waters earlier. Well, now we just call that hydrotherapy, or mineral soaking or anything like that. You mentioned a good one. We were talking about cold water treatment, it being now called cold plunges. An
ice bath.
Yeah, an ice bath is now just a cold plunge. And
same thing, new name.
It's supposed to
been rebranded.
Yeah, if it's wacky, just rebrand it, right? And then you can but it's supposed to like reinvigorate the body and like get, they have people like that tout its benefits, right? But sun cure, they used to call it just sun cure or heliotherapy, is now light-based wellness treatment. Get out in the sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people like strip down and they different body parts to the sun because the sun.
But who doesn't feel better when you're just laying in the warm sun?
I know.
I mean, it makes me feel like, it's when you take the best nap, right?
Look, if my dog does it.
The cat's always looking for that perfect shaft of light on the carpet to take a nap in.
Exactly.
Same thing.
And if it's good for her, it's good for me.
She has a good life. But doctors have regularly prescribed things like go take a walk. And now it's just like, okay, you need to exercise more. But before it was, you need to walk. Yeah. Things like, as we were talking about massage earlier, that was something that started being prescribed to people as medical massages. And now it's just like, oh, it's a part of a wellness routine.
Yeah, now massages, it's recovery. It's helping your body recover. But back then, it was brand new and people had to be told, you need this because it helps whatever the muscles, feel better. Like who was the first person to do all that? I don't know.
Right.
Okay, but maybe somebody's rubbing someone's shoulders and they were like, oh, this feels better. Someone should, prescribe this or whatever. But like, these sanitariums and everything having these guided programs. Well, now, what do you think these wellness retreats are? They're medically guided, programs of things. So like all of this stuff isn't new. It's been around for a while. Even the drinking, vegetarians, and who knew that the inventor of Kellogg cereal was a guy out there at one time looking around for vegetarian options for people. Yeah. To get their nutrition back on track.
Exactly.
It's kind of wild to even think about.
Because now it's just a sugary breakfast option for kids.
Now it's part of a corporate conglomerate. We're probably monitoring our show. I'm going to send us a letter. Cease and desist. Yes, we will on Scale Travel Show. We'll be right back. Maybe. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. She's staring at me. Jeremy Long here with my incredible, exciting...
There's that word again.
Co-host, Amy.
Hello.
Not at all sarcastic. Not at all holding a blade right now. We are in beautiful Sin City, Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Lancervine Studios, talking about wellness retreats from hundreds of years ago that you can still visit today in the U.S., a lot of them still functioning in some sort of capacity and helping people on their wellness journeys. Yeah. Many years ago, not that long ago, actually, one of the most brutal diseases around the world, and especially here in the U.S., was polio, right? So polio could begin with fever and flu-like symptoms. Then suddenly it produced muscle weakness and paralysis. Okay, in severe cases, patients lost the ability to breathe without the assistance of what they would later call an iron lung. And I believe one of the last iron lung patients just passed away.
Oh, that's sad.
This year or sometime not too long ago. Children who survived polio could require braces, wheelchairs, years of physical therapy. There were at one point more than 21,000 paralytic cases reported in the United States in 1952 alone.
Oh, goodness.
And there was no medication that reversed the damage. So, and it affected young and old, rich, poor, everyone. One of the most famous cases would be one of our presidents, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who would serve 4 terms as a United States president, right? But in Warm Springs, Georgia, and then later a place in Texas were a couple of the epicenters of where doctors would send polio patients in hopes to help their recovery along.
So these 2 places were known, just make sure I understand. Doctors would send patients to Georgia or this place in Texas because they were known to have like rehab facilities for polio?
And sometimes just healing properties.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the Warm Springs, right? So Franklin Roosevelt came to Warm Springs, Georgia in 1924. After hearing that it's naturally warm water, these warm springs, had helped another polio survivor a great many degree, or many things. They had 88-degree water that supported his supported his body. Gosh, I can't read. That allowed him to exercise with greater freedom. So warm water loosened his body up a little bit, allowed him to function a little bit more, exercise and stretch and do things like that.
That's the hydrotherapy that we were speaking
Exactly
of
what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't restore his ability to walk independently, but it did improve his strength and gave him a community where disability was normal rather than something to conceal, which was very important back then to patients because it wasn't like it is now where there are all kinds of disability acts and accessory, things like that that made life normal and everything else for people who are differently abled. It's more back then, it was a stigma.
Yeah.
You're sick, stay away from me.
But this probably goes back to the whole mental aspect of it too.
Exactly.
If you start feeling better and thinking more positively, it does have an impact on your body.
You got rid of that stinking thinking. Because there were people... Remember that? People say that. Get rid of that stinking thinking.
Yes.
But you were surrounded by people like you who were going through the same problems and understood. So you weren't an outcast. You were just part of the group, which does help on a mental level, right?
Right.
So Roosevelt, so rather than having this thing that he needed to conceal all the time and thought made him look weak to the general public because he wasn't president yet, but he had political aspirations. So Roosevelt purchased the property and helped develop it into an actual rehabilitation center.
Oh.
So this is an important distinction from the other earlier resorts, right? Warm Springs wasn't only just selling this mysterious substance of like, ooh, this water or whatever. It was actually using the water in a practical environment for physical therapy. Physical therapy itself being in its early stages.
Which that it's really interesting to see how things like that have evolved too. I mean, again, I'm curious who was the first to actually do some form of physical therapy and realize, oh, this works. And then were they probably seen as like a charlatan? Moving your legs helps strengthen your legs. Surprise, surprise, right? I mean, you say it like that, and it's like, well, yeah. But back then, it was like, what do you mean? He has leg braces. He has polio. Why would we move his legs?
Yeah.
Again, probably a shift in the way they thought about things, but just putting true kind of stock in manipulating the muscles and things like that to help strengthen the body.
Yeah, I like it. So in 2026, what remains? Roosevelt's, what they would later call the Little White House, remains open as a state historic site. So on this property, it's still there. The unfinished portrait and the bedroom where he eventually would die are preserved. Okay. The historic treatment pools completed a major restoration before the early season here, not too long ago. Visitors can tour the pools complex and fill the spring water from a basin, but ordinary recreational swimming is not the, they don't just allow you to roll up and just go swimming.
Go swim in
Yeah,
the
this
waters.
is for, really real needed things. So, but nearby, FDR State Park and Dowdells? Now I've turned this into a complete historic trip. So you got a little bit of history all around this area. That
We
you
all
can
know
still
Jeremy
go visit.
loves his history.
Well, I do. In Texas, a place that I was at not too long ago, a place called Autine, Texas. And I was down there hunting a swamp monster. What does that mean?
Next week's episode.
Check out Unskilled Travel Show online at Unskilled Stories on YouTube to check out why and what I found searching for a swamp monster. Anyway, the Gonzales Warm Springs Foundation began in 1937 and opened an inpatient facility for children in 1941. Stop while you're laughing, Amy. Laughing at children. Come on.
Now I'm laughing.
Patients there use swimming, physical therapy, braces, and basically communal rehabilitation to rebuild their lives after, after polio. So Autine provides the, our, I think, strongest past to present transformation, because the former rehabilitation property actually reopened not too long ago, I think within the last few months, as the Autine Mineral Springs. And it sits right at the start of Palmetto State Park.
Which is where you were.
Which is where I was.
Yeah.
So right behind there, you can go fishing and everything else.
Are you fishing in the Mineral Springs?
Not with the polio kids, no.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Stop it. I know what you're trying to do. Look, I can get myself canceled. I don't need your help.
Did you see?
What you can find there in 2026. Moving on. I'm going to turn your mic off. Mineral soaking pools supplied by naturally heated water. Around there are nearby is the San Marcos River. It cuts through the area, but around that area is a lot of naturally occurring springs. In fact, Palmetto State Park is unusual because it has these springs that have preserved this area that all around it is like Texas cattle land. It's flat and it's exactly how you expect cows to be roaming over or whatever. But Palmetto State Park looks like a throwback to 10,000 years ago.
Oh.
It's a swampy area. Its namesake is the palmetto plant, which needs tons of water to survive, and it is covered in palmetto plants and everything. And so it's like this unusual area, just smack
like
dab.
an oasis in the middle of a cattle.
Right in the middle of cattle country.
Huh.
It's kind of wild if you go out there. But they have all these mineral soaking pools. No, nothing. Okay. But they do have cold plunges, sauna, massage rooms, relaxation areas, food and beverage service, and lodging on the property and everything. But it is open to go stay at. So, it's one of those places that I think.
So this is another one that's still open today. It's probably not in the same, operating exactly the same as it did.
Not the same way. In fact, it was kind of crazy when I was doing a lot of research for a swamp monster. If you look up Autine, like a lot of the stuff that you find in newspapers and things was about this particular property. Everyone knew who it was. They did a fundraiser every single year for the
polio kids.
Yeah, the polio property, and it was for the kids, and it was a big thing, and like all over San Antonio, which is maybe an hour or so away, like people knew this area. So, and as polio cases fell, obviously the need for such a place kind of, fell as well. Thankfully,
do you think this area is still popular when it comes to like wellness retreats, or is with the reopening of the property, that's the intention?
I think that's the intention.
Okay.
Excuse me. Started coughing. I think that's the intention because it does sit, again, an hour outside of San Antonio, maybe a couple hours away from Austin, right in between like Houston and that area too. So it's isolated enough, but also the area itself with the natural springs. And then you have it's just kind of this isolated area as well, where you can kind of put the phone away and again, the mental and the rest. And
I mean, thinking about wellness retreats and locations now, most of them are somewhat remote. They are removed from high traffic areas, big cities, highly congested places, because I do agree that if you live in that environment, sometimes you need to recharge and you have to get away from all that. And so that's why, I mean, it makes sense that wellness retreats are kind of off on their own somewhere. And it does just sort of put this mental block of like, okay, all that stuff you deal with on a daily basis, you don't have to worry about that here.
Yeah, like a mental a wellness retreat, say, on the Strip.
Yeah.
I don't think would work as well.
Times Square, New York.
Yeah, right in the middle of all the hullabaloo, all that, rigmarole would not be good, because part of it is the mental part of like just desensitizing, de-stressing and everything. And there's a certain amount of stress that comes with all that stuff that's just always, I mean, we're used to it. We've lived out here lived in Vegas for 12
years?
14 years, something like that. Yeah. And it's still, I go down to the Strip today.
It's overwhelming.
And in an hour, I'm like, okay, it's too much.
Too many people.
So yeah, I think there is being out by yourself, in the cold or in the hot, depending on how you like things. So,
or in the swamp.
In the swamp with the polio kids. There you go. We'll see you guys next time on Scale Travel Show. Thank you, Kellogg's.